repeat after me.
This is a public service.
Amber Sellers,
Do solemnly and sincerely
do solemnly and sincerely
declare and affirm
declare and affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Kansas,
and the Constitution of the State of Kansas,
and faithfully discharge the duties of Commissioner
and faithfully discharge the duties of Commissioner
for the City of Lawrence, Kansas,
for the City of Lawrence, Kansas,
during the term for which I was elected,
during the term for which I was elected,
and this I do
and this I do
under the pains and penalties of perjury.
under the pains and penalties of perjury.
Congratulations.
Okay, so there you have it. That's Amber Sellers. That's her swearing her oath to protect the Constitution. This is December of 2023. So not even a year later, in a shameful, cowardly act, we've got a statement from Amber over here. But Amber should know about Cohen v. California, that, you know, the people have free speech. We were born with this right, and, you know, sometimes we got to use it, you know, to let you guys know that you're doing a terrible job. You've also got the New York Times v. Sullivan in 1964. The Supreme Court, in an opinion written by Justice William Brennan, reviewed the matter against the background of a profound national commitment to the principle that debate on public issues should be uninhibited, robust, and wide open, and that it may well include vehement, caustic, and sometimes unpleasant, sharp attacks on government and public officials. Noting that the adversement at hand would qualify for constitutional protection, the court considered whether its inaccuracies had forfeited that constitutional protection. The court, in a unanimous 9-0 decision, established that statements under such circumstances involving a public official plaintiff must be false and made with actual malice, that is, with reckless disregard of whether it was false or not. Upending the common law tort rule, the court placed the burden of proof on the public official plaintiff, stating that the plaintiff must demonstrate actual malice with convincing clarity, which the constitutional standard demands. Free speech, Amber. Let's read Amber's statement and see what's got her all in her feelings. And let's just remember that all of the statements, actually, I don't think that's true anymore. I think they've rearranged their meetings over there in Lawrence, where they don't actually film the public comment. I could be wrong. That could be what, Lawrence County? I don't know. There's a lot going on over in Lawrence, y'all, and none of it is good, except for the stuff that Lawrence Accountability and the dreaded rabble rouser. There's a couple. I mean, the whole, it's a big cesspool out there of corruption and of extra constitutional power. So let's get into Amber's statement, but just keep in mind that there's no evidence, none of this, any criminal act that she's mentioning or goes to mention, it's not substantiated with evidence. So, as a public servant statement, addressing my decision to sorry, I got to rewind again, guys. Amber has decided that she's going to no longer participate in the city commission meetings. She's going to watch the commission meeting. She's a commissioner. She's going to watch the commissioners from another area, so she doesn't have to face the public. So she doesn't have to face the people that she purports to represent. So she doesn't have to face the decisions, the consequences of her decisions, and listen with open ears, and understanding that most problems are solved with a conversation where everybody listens. It's a real problem in government that they don't listen. So, addressing my decision to participate in general public comment from an alternative location. As a public servant, I believe in the power of discourse and the importance of community engagement. The opportunity for residents to voice their opinions and concerns is a cornerstone of our democracy and a vital part of my role as commissioner. However, recent events have compelled me to reconsider how I participate in these discussions, specifically during general public comment today. Today, I am deciding to engage from an alternative location, and I want to share the reasons behind this choice. The Commission has worked diligently to mitigate disruptive behaviors from public comment sessions, yet the challenges persist, that free speech persists. Oh, that goddamn free speech. Sadly, what was meant to be a platform for genuine community engagement has been co-opted by a small but vocal group of individuals who present themselves as advocates for the community. In reality, their focus is self-aggrandizement, not the common good. So I don't know if they're talking about Dr. Justin Spiess and Michael. Mike, I don't know how to pronounce your last name, so I guess I won't dox you like I just did Dr. Spiess. But that's outrageous. That's a claim without evidence, and it's outrageous. I mean, I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, but it was actually the homeless situation that brought Michael out there. It might have been the police violence situation, but either way, those are things that are huge issues in Lawrence, and to pretend that he's not advocating for the good of the community it's frankly outrageous. Discourse and debate are essential to democracy, but when provocative speech becomes fanatical grandstanding, it becomes a distraction. It doesn't matter if speech is a distraction or not. I don't care if it's fanatical grandstanding. It's not. I don't care if it's fanatical grandstanding or not. You listen to it. It's 3 minutes, Amber. It becomes a distraction. You can't listen to somebody speak for 3 minutes. That's how closed-minded you are. You can't just listen to somebody for 3 minutes. You're outrageous. Those who truly care about our community should be solution partners, not what I call problem articulators. Unfortunately, many of these voices are more interested in creating conflict than in fostering meaningful dialogue. Their intent is not to build bridges, but to burn them. So, I don't know, guys. I've made a few videos on the things going on in Lawrence. I'll link them all in the description. I'm pretty sure there's actually a playlist for the dreaded rabble rouser in Lawrence accountability. And I'm gonna say this. There's a video on there where Josh Shaky Hand Seiden is having his conversation with Dr. Spiess in the lobby of the DA office, and that devolves into Shaky Hands ending up dressing up like Dr. Spiess and mocking him. So, I don't think that's intended to build any bridges. But you know what? That, to be fair, that isn't on Amber. That's not on Amber. That's on Josh Shaky Hands Seiden. He did that. So yeah. But then But then I believe it was Amber Sellers who just nominated Shaky Hand Sidon to a review board. I believe it was the police review board. So I have to just question, is that community, is that, a community solution? Is that a partnership solution, or is that a problem? Uh, I think Shaky Hands is a problem articulator, whatever the hell that is. But he was clearly interested in creating conflict. Clearly interested in creating conflict. Nothing he did built bridges, and Amber nominating him to that review board is a slap in the face to the outright disgraceful behavior of Shaky Hands. So that's just a bold-faced lie. The attacks I've experienced along with my fellow commissioners. Now we're talking about verbal attacks inside of the 3-minute public comment, the public comment time, are intentional and targeted. Yes, speech is often targeted. While the specifics may vary, the underlying intent is the same: to create a fictional narrative based on misinformation and intimidation. Each commissioner faces different forms of these assaults, yet the impact is universally harmful. So a fictional narrative. So is the narrative that I just mentioned, is that a fictional narrative? Did that stuff not happen? Because there's evidence that those things happened. So those are assertions backed by evidence. Those are facts backed by evidence. That means that it's not hearsay. It's not something that is made up. But let's see what Amber and her perceived threats. Persistent racial and political slurs directed at specific commissioners during public comments. Okay, I've never heard a racial slur, let alone a persistent racial slur. Now, if a political slur is calling you guys Nazis when you act like Nazis, well, that's happening, and that's called free speech because you're acting like Nazis. Coordinated campaigns of misinformation designed to undermine our credibility and sow discord among the community. For example, so that's when you make this assertion and then you back it by some evidence. Otherwise, this is just word salad. Intimidation tactics, including threats and bullying, that seek to create an atmosphere of fear and hostility. I'm pretty sure that neither one of those guys want an atmosphere of fear and hostility, because that would just mean the police are going to come in, and we all know Lockhart is a tyrant piece of garbage, and he's got no problem abusing authority and using violence in situations that it isn't necessary. So, I don't see that, but maybe, there's a second page, so we'll see if she gets to the evidence portion over there. Let's see here. Okay, these actions are not just personal attacks, they are attempts to erode trust in our democratic institutions. My concern is that many of our communities see this level of abuse as part of the job and have begun to normalize it. Worse still, some may believe that we, as commissioners, deserve to be treated this way, reinforcing the notion that we are somehow unworthy of respect, or that we do not represent certain segments of our community. Okay, respect is earned. Typically, it's not just given as a part of the job. But if you're not doing something right, you're going to be told, and then if you continue to do the same thing, you're going to be told again. And then some people, they don't like to talk nice. They don't like to be sweet to people that ignore them and treat them that steal their money. They steal their money, they abuse them, and then they demand to be spoken nicely to. This mindset is dangerous. Free speech is dangerous. This is what here, I'll decode this. Free speech is dangerous. It perpetuates a cycle of division and hostility that threatens the safety and well-being of not just the commissioners, but also the city employees and the other public servants. This free speech does this. My fear is that the normalization of such behavior, the normalization of free speech, will embolden someone to act on these threats. Nobody's threatened her that I'm aware of. Maybe I'm wrong, Amber. Maybe you can just publish the threats. If you send them to me, I will. I'll happily give your side of the story, Amber. I want to be completely fair. So let's see where I lost where I was. Yeah, so let me be clear. I do not live in fear. Wait. So she's not going to. Is she going to slink away and listen to the public comments from another area, or is she going to live in fear or not live in fear? This one's a little hazy for me. I don't know. All right. I believe in the strength of our community and the values we hold dear, like free speech, the First Amendment of the Constitution that we just literally watched you swear an oath to protect. She believes in the strength. She believes in the values that we hold dear, as long as they're hers. When they're hers, she values them. But when somebody else has a different opinion than her, she doesn't value that. She does live in fear. She lives in fear of other people's opinions. And she's not willing to listen to some caustic language in order to maybe find a solution that is good for both sides or all sides. However, I am acutely aware that at any time someone could attempt to harm me, verbally or physically, by inciting others to do their bidding. This is cowardice, pure and simple, and it does not reflect the Lawrence I know and love. Someone could attempt to harm me verbally. I don't know. I don't want anybody to be physically violent towards any of these people. People making physical threats, they shouldn't do that. And if they are, they should be held responsible for doing it. But you need to be able to take the verbal tongue lashing, Amber. I can't believe your mom raised you to be so weak. Lawrence is a city built on respect, inclusivity, and a shared commitment to progress. We are better than the behaviors we're witnessing in recent months. My decision to participate in public comment from an alternative location is not an act of retreat, but a stand against the toxicity that threatens to erode the foundations of our democracy, like free speech, the First Amendment of the Constitution, the foundation, the bedrock of liberty in our nation. And she's not retreating to another location to not listen. That's not what's happening. She's moving forward to a free speech zone bubble where she will participate, where in an environment of inclusivity where everything is achieved for all people, and it's great. I will continue to listen to all voices in our community. but will not allow a few disruptive individuals to undermine the work we are doing to make Lawrence a better place for everyone. Thank you for understanding and continued support. I don't understand, and I certainly don't support Amber Sellers in service. That's nonsense. That's not in service at all. But let's just rewind just a little bit. I will continue to listen to all voices in our community. But that's not true, Amber. You're a liar. You clearly aren't going to listen to any of the voices because you don't have the courage to stand in front of the people that elected you or the people that didn't elect you but still want you held accountable. You're taking these people's money. You asked for this job. You wanted to serve the community. Don't be a coward. I mean, you're already going to be a coward. My video is not going to stop you from being a coward. You're already a coward. I just wish you'd do better because Amber Sellers is not going to beat free speech. She may look like a moron and slink away to her protection bubble, but get a grip, Amber.
Oh, oh no! Oh no!
Oh yeah!
Mayor, I nominate Amber Sellers, myself, as vice mayor.
Okay. Are there any other nominations for vice mayor?
No, ma'am.
Do you have a motion to close the nominations?
I move to close nominations.
Second?
Second?
I have a first and a second. All in favor to close the nominations, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0. So the nominations are now closed. Do I have a motion for the position of the vice mayor?
Mayor, can we clarify before we take the vote that it is a roll call vote?
I will turn to Sherry.
We can do a roll call vote.
Okay.
I would move to nominate Mike Devo as vice mayor.
Second?
I have a first and a second. And votes?
Okay.
Me?
I'll
You
go
go.
ahead and do the roll.
Do roll call.
Commissioner Larsen,
Yes.
Commissioner Littlejohn,
Yes.
Commissioner Finkeldei,
Yes.
Commissioner mdever,
Yes.
Commissioner Sellers.
Nay.
We have a vote of 4-1 with, it passes to have Vice Mayor Mike Dever as our new Vice Mayor. Thank you.
Mayor, point of order.
Yes, sure.
I understand that we don't do parliamentary procedure, but I do want to note that when I asked for a roll call vote, the roll call vote was for us to state which nominee.
Okay.
So technically, we were out of order with how we deliberated our vote, but for the sake of time and
Sherry, could
order,
you? Yeah.
we've already closed. So this motion carries, and I'm not going to reconsider.
Okay.
Did you want me to respond, Mayor?
Yeah, Sherry.
We had two nominations, and there was a motion on the floor, and there was a second to elect Commissioner Dever as the vice mayor.
Which was technically out of order, but again, because we don't follow parliamentary procedure, it is what it is.
Sherry,
I'm not disputing the vote. Again, unless someone else wants the motion to reconsider, we don't need to. I just wanted to state that the second motion to nominate Mike Dever for vice mayor was out of order because we had closed the nominations, and therefore the point of order was to ensure that the vote was a roll call vote as to who was voting for which candidate. So,
excuse me, sir. Please don't say anything else. I'm going to have to ask you to leave.
It was the same process we followed for the previous
it's-
one.
So this is a,
Have the procedures outlined.
exactly. That's why I said it's.
but the proper procedure was followed based on our Okay, okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. Any other commissioners wanting to make any comments? Commissioner Sellers?
Yeah, I'll indulge. First, I want to take a time to thank family, friends, and supporters, specifically to my family who is watching online right now, and to my mother. I love you. And we're praying that you continue to grow stronger and stronger each day, just like the strong Black woman I know you to be and who you've raised me to be. I'm going to keep my comments short and sweet as much as possible. If you guys know me, I've been told I lecture, I preach, but what I hope to do is to edify and connect my community to understanding the value gaps that we have, not to dwell on them, but to bring awareness in hopes that we can come together collectively to close the gap. Because as long as gaps exist, inequity exists, inequality exists, and the ability to thrive and function successfully and collectively will never be achieved. So I come to you today standing on the shoulders of my ancestors, of those who have come before me and continue to elevate me to the goals of which I am here to preserve and to bring justice to. I stand on the shoulders of Shirley Chisholm, who stood in a shadow, mocked, ridiculed, speaking of a voice in a space that no Black woman was ever seen to be, or was seen for her to achieve in. And she stood and she campaigned on the motto of unbought and unbossed. And I refuse, and I want to be able to make sure I give that motto justice. And so I'm not here to appropriate it in any way. But I recognize that I sit here in front of you, but I stand for my community today, unbossed and unbought. And I will continue to do that because I believe that the people of this community should be centered in policy development and policy creation and policy imagination, because we've gotten away from that. And it will continue to be my goal to do that. I stand here telling you that I will continue to be a catalyst for impactful social change in our community, whether it be me or those who come behind me, whoever that is. Because this is not about me. This is about each and every one of you, my family, my connection. Mr. Tron, when he said his public comments earlier, touched on something that I want to briefly touch on, which is the power of progress and sometimes how it doesn't come to us at the detriment of traditionalism. And sometimes when we lean on tradition, what we're saying is that we believe in stagnation. We lack innovation. We believe in the status quo. We cannot call ourselves a progressive community if we're not willing to address the traditions that continue to perpetuate the same outcomes that we continue to have. So if we want to change, we got to start being more progressive than we are right now. And we can't lean on tradition. Impatience is the victory. Impatience for victory guarantees defeat. Impatience for victory guarantees defeat. In our pursuit to include and to bring impactful change in our community, we can't be hasty. We can't be quick. We have to remember that a gap exists, and in order for us to move progress forward, to move outcomes forward, whether they're in our strategic plan or even by the mantra that we live, we cannot be impatient. We have been, in times, impatient And we have to recognize we cannot do this work unless we are all at a space where we understand. And we're getting there. And we've had some trial and error. And family, we have that. We're going to continue to experience that. But let us not let our impatience for quick change be the defeat in our victory. So I want to end with an Ethiopian proverb that says, when the spider webs unite, they can tie up a lion. Collectively, we must unite to bind up and remove the barriers that prevent anyone in our community from thriving. So let us remind ourselves that not only are we people and humans interacting with each other, we are a community. We are family. And so as we progress policies in order to address inadequacies and gaps in our community, may we do it with a sense of unity. Because without us doing it that way, we're leaning on tradition, which means we're leaning on failure. Thank you.
Okay, well, that is all of that for the agenda, and we'll move on to commission items.
We're out here today to ensure our natural rights are respected by those who swore an oath to support, protect, and defend the rights of the people. The purpose of all interactions is to peacefully promote government accountability and transparency. Please like, share, and subscribe so this message can reach as many people as possible. I implore you to peacefully seek redress to any and all of your grievances. This is a public service.